Damn, Angel. Damn. Jag the game at the free throw line, man. It's a lot of controversy going on in Chicago. The Sky fans are blaming Tyler Marsh for Angel Reese losing the game at the free throw line and ruining the Chicago Sky's chances of really cutting the lead down to 1 and giving themselves a chance to keep playing and try to get an upset in Phoenix. Angel played a hell of a game, 15 points, 20 rebounds. We cannot poo-poo.
Imagine this. You're standing at the free throw line with the game on the line. The crowd is roaring, your teammates are counting on you, and millions are watching at home. This is the moment stars are made for. But when the ball left Angel Reese's hands, it didn't create a highlight. It created a blooper reel that would spark one of the most dramatic meltdowns in WNBA history. What followed wasn't just a missed shot. It was an explosion of excuses, finger pointing, and enough drama to power a reality TV franchise for seasons.
Angel Reese is at the bottom of the pick and roll shot attempts list, and it kind of makes sense if you really watch. So on her first game back from injury, somebody interviewed her and asked her, what do you think about Uzan joining the team? How does that change things? And she said, hopefully I'll get more pick and roll touches. Unfortunately, that just hasn't happened. And it's more so, in my opinion, that she's just not getting that play called for her. It's not something that the team is running. Pick and rolls for Angel is not happening. So there is a list. My guy Trendy put it out. I know a lot of people, Trendy is controversial, but Trendy does, you look at his stats, when he posts stats, they'll be right. And so he put out a list of the top pick and roll shot attempts for front court players, and Angel wasn't even in.
Welcome to the unraveling of Phenom, where bad plays meet even worse excuses, and where one player failure becomes everyone's fault except our own. This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about what happens when hype crashes into reality, when potential meets pressure, and when an entire fan base would rather blame everyone else and admit their star might just have choked. From the coach to the referees, from the teammates to the league itself, nobody was safe from the blame game that followed Reese's collapse.
Choke the game away at the free throw line, and the fans are blaming Tyler Marsh. We got all the Sky fans crashing out. They crashing out blaming the coach because Angel Reese missed a free throw at the end of a game. Let's take a look at what's going on. We have Chicago Sky fans blaming Tyler Marsh.
But beneath all the noise lies a simple, uncomfortable truth. While Reese's supporters were busy making excuses, Caitlin Clark was busy making history. This is a story of how one bad game turned into a circus of denial, and what it reveals about the state of sports in the social media age. The stage was set for a triumphant return. Angel Reese had been sidelined with a back injury, the kind of mystery ailment that fans talked about in hushed tones, but nobody could quite pinpoint. Her comeback game was supposed to be a redemption story, another chapter in the rise of the player they called Barbie. Instead, it became the kind of performance that makes you check your stream to make sure you're not watching a parody account.
Angel Reese has made her triumphant return from a back injury. That's right, a back injury. Yeah, absolutely, that she had suffered at some point that we don't exactly know at what point she suffered said back injury. Well, it didn't take long for the Chicago Sky as an organization to get back to what it is they do best, which is the diabolical celebration of Angel Reese's double-doubles in losses.
With the game hanging in the balance, Reese found herself with the ball and a chance to seal victory. What happened next wasn't just a miss. It was a complete unraveling that would make even the most casual fan cringe. The numbers tell a brutal story. Reese might be grabbing double-doubles, but the Chicago Sky are an abysmal 15-31 when she achieves the stat line. That's right. When Reese puts up her trademark double-double numbers, her team is nearly 20 games under .500. It's the kind of statistic that should make fans question everything they think they know about what winning basketball looks like. Yet instead of confronting this uncomfortable reality, Sky supporters would rather celebrate the empty calories of individual stats than the nourishment of actual victories. It's like celebrating a chef for beautifully plating a meal that tastes terrible. Eventually, presentation isn't enough to disguise the substance underneath. The pick and roll problems run even deeper. There's a telling list circulating of front court players and their pick and roll shot attempts, and Angel Reese's name is conspicuously absent from the top. She's second to last, behind players who have missed significant time with injuries themselves.
Angel only leading Natasha is wild. So let's look at the list. And I know some people might say, well, Angel was injured for a good portion of the season. So was some people on this list. Who was injured? Fee missed 3 weeks, almost a month time. Miller was gone playing in Eurobasket. Shakira missed a lot of time. Dominique does not play that much. I mean, she's playing more now, but during the beginning of the season, who else is on this list that missed some time? E. Will was on this list. That is shocking. So we get pick and rolls for E. Will, and we get pick and rolls for Camilla, but Angel is, again, second to worst.
This isn't about opportunity. It's about utilization, or more accurately, the lack thereof. When asked about new teammate Camila Cardoso joining the team, Reese herself expressed hope that she'd get more pick and roll touches. But that simply hasn't happened. The offense isn't running through her in those situations, and the results are speaking for themselves. When your star player collapses under pressure, you have two choices: accept that even great athletes have bad moments, or launch a full-scale investigation into everyone else involved. Sky fans chose option 2 with enthusiasm of conspiracy theorists finding a new government secret. First on the blame list, Coach Tyler Marsh, who apparently personally tied Reese's shoes together before the big moment. At least, that's what you believe based on a reaction from Chicago supporters who decided one missed free throw was actually a complex failure of coaching strategy rather than a simple failure of execution. The coach blaming reached such absurd levels that you'd think Marsh had devised a game plan. While blindfolded, fans argued he didn't put Reese in the right spots, didn't build the offense around her enough, didn't draw up the perfect plays, as if basketball is a video game where you can simply force-feed one player until they dominate.
Hey, I saw a statistic. This would have been prior to this loss, that there were something like 15 and 31 when she gets a double-double. You over 15 games under 500 when she gets a double-double. Y'all out here celebrating this? I'd be embarrassed as a mother bleeper. I'd be embarrassed as hell. And of course, Angel Reese last night, she was deep in her bag. Woo-wee! I mean, brought a backpack with her. Put it down, started reaching in it, and pulling out the whiffs. Let me tell you, yikes.
The reality is, Reese had the ball in her hands with a chance to win it. The opportunities were there. The moment was there. But according to Sky Twitter, this wasn't a choke. It was sabotaged by the clipboard brigade, who apparently don't want their best player to succeed. The teammate criticism came next, because why stop at blaming the coach? Suddenly, Reese's supporting cast wasn't giving her enough help, wasn't setting her up properly, wasn't protecting her image. The contradictions became almost comical.
All right, man. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Showtime. Y'all already know what time it is. So, man, let's have a conversation, bro. Man, I want to say, what the hell is going on with the Chicago Sky? Something is off to me. I'm watching them from the jump. This team don't seem to be there mentally. Looks like players are mentally checked out. Now, shout out to Angel. I want to say this. Angel, for the most part of this game, she went out there and competed. Seemed like she was the only one that really showed up.
Reese was simultaneously a dominant force who should be carrying the team and a fragile talent who needed everyone else to make her look good. You can't have it both ways. But that didn't stop the excuse machine from trying. The truth is, basketball remains a team sport. And while teammates certainly share responsibility for losses, they don't get credit for an individual player missing crucial moments. Then came the referee conspiracy theories, the last refuge of fans who can't accept reality. Suddenly, every whistle was biased. Every missed call was conspiracy against Chicago. And the league itself was working overtime to make Angel Reese look bad. Because obviously, the WNBA has a vested interest in making one of its most marketable players fail.
Chicago Sky just got defeated by a pretty boring game too, okay? Even though Angel Reese went off, okay, like she usually does. You know, she got her double-double. She got 20 points, 10 rebounds, I believe. You know, with her stats, it is impressive. But again, it's like we are on a decline. This whole team, the entire Chicago Sky as an organization, as a franchise, is on a great decline, okay? And it's controversy. Of course, there's always some controversy surrounding this damn team. And I may make some controversial takes on this, but I believe like a lot of people would actually agree with what I got to say about Angel Reese being a point guard, because I'm tired of it.
Nothing says rational sports debate like inventing an entire referee conspiracy to explain why your star can't finish a layup or hit a free throw. It's the basketball equivalent of claiming the election was stolen. When the evidence doesn't support your desired outcome, just invent a grand conspiracy instead. While Reese's fans were busy blaming everyone else, Caitlin Clark was doing what she does best, rewriting WNBA history like it's her side hustle. The contrast couldn't be more dramatic. On one side, Reese fumbling opportunities and watching her fan base spiral into meltdown mode. On the other, Clark hitting deep threes, shattering attendance records, and redefining what marketability in women's basketball looks like.
So a lot of people are starting to notice, and honestly, I didn't until I got sent basically not a thread, but like a couple of videos of this happening, and I genuinely think that this could be, this could be not her taking things into her own hands, but this very much could be people in her ear being like, you got to get back to the way she used to be, because Caitlin Clark slimmed down a lot.
One player is becoming the face of the league through undeniable performance. The other is becoming the face of excuses through undeniable hype. The impact Clark is having on the league is measurable, tangible, and verifiable. Teams are relocating to bigger arenas when she visits because demand is genuinely that high. Ticket resales for her games are spiking to unprecedented levels. Broadcasts featuring her are outdrawing everything else in the league by significant margins. ESPN doesn't move games for fun. They do it because the numbers don't lie. Meanwhile, Reese's supporters are trying to compete with fake statistics and inflated viewership claims that collapse under the slightest scrutiny. It's like bringing a calculator to a math competition when the other person brought a supercomputer. The tools just aren't in the same league.
It's so crazy to me because I don't know if I ever seen this before. It just seemed like, even though Tana Moore's the coach, it's like they just out there playing. And it don't even matter what I can tell they probably don't even listen to him. They don't care what he said. They don't. They just go on with the flow. That's what it seems like. Like players just not even locked in on a game plan or a specific role or anything. Just players just playing. How many times I'm gonna see Angel Camilla beats everybody down the floor and they don't get the ball though.
The rivalry between these two players dates back to their college days, when Reese helped lead LSU to a national championship victory over Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes. Clark won the rematch in 2024 in a game that drew 12.3 million television viewers. Numbers of WNBA could only dream of before her arrival. Less than 8 weeks later, they were squaring off in the WNBA in the first of 4 matchups. The Fever took 3 of those contests, many featuring hard fouls and intense physicality. In the end, Clark helped Indiana make the playoffs, while Reese missed the final 2 weeks of games with season-ending wrist injury. The narrative was already building, but this recent meltdown has added another chapter to their complicated history.
I'm gonna give her some credit first. I'm gonna give her some credit. Y'all be getting sensitive. Y'all be getting super sensitive. Angel Reese, you did your thing versus the New York Liberty. Y'all got a win, but we have to keep it real. For the second straight season, Angel Reese has led the Chicago Sky to elimination with a bunch of basketball games left. Season was over before it got started.
When reality doesn't look flattering, there's always one escape hatch: alternative facts. Specifically, fake viewership numbers that would make even a politician blush. The WNBA Twitter transformation into a carnival of inflated statistics is something to behold. According to these fans, the league isn't just growing. It's apparently bigger than the NFL, Taylor Swift, and the moon landing combined. The creativity would be impressive if it weren't so transparently desperate. Dig a little deeper past the viral tweets, and you realize these record-breaking claims are usually comparing niche cable slots to primetime national broadcasts, or including every accidental stream, clip view, and highlight reel scroll on Instagram as part of the total viewership. Maybe it was the highest-rated game in that time slot on a random cable network with minimal competition. Or perhaps it was compared to games from a decade ago when coverage was non-existent. You know it's bad when the record you're bragging about sounds like something you'd find on a trivia card instead of a legitimate headline. The fake numbers game exposes a deeper insecurity in Reese's supporter base. They know Clark's impact is real and measurable, so they have to create an alternative reality where Reese's influence matches or exceeds it. But real impact doesn't need to be exaggerated. When Clark plays, people watch. When Clark visits, tickets sell. When Clark shoots, highlights trend. The evidence is everywhere, from ESPN's coverage to the secondary ticket market to the actual attendance numbers. You don't have to squint or spin it. It's happening right in front of us, whether Reese's fans want to admit it or not. The most ironic part? Reese doesn't need these fake numbers to be valuable. She's a good player with a growing brand, but the desperation to make her appear equal to Clark actually undermines her genuine accomplishments. By creating unrealistic expectations and then failing to meet them, her fans set her up for constant disappointment. It's like parents claiming their child is a genius. Eventually, the report card comes out and no amount of bragging can change the grades. What drives otherwise rational fans to abandon reality for fantasy? Why do we make excuses for athletes rather than accepting that even stars have bad moments? The psychology behind excuse making is actually well documented, and Reese's situation hits all the classic patterns. According to experts, excuses are nothing more than self-created obstacles crafted to keep us from moving forward for a variety of reasons. Benjamin Franklin said it best. He that is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything else. Excuses typically take two forms. The I can't because type includes reasons like, I'm too young, I've been in the game too long, or the circumstances aren't right. Then there's the I'm waiting for excuse. I'm waiting for my teammates to improve. I'm waiting for the coach to figure out. I'm waiting for the right system. The problem with this type of excuse is twofold. By creating a contingency excuse, you're giving up power to the other event or person and avoiding your own sense of responsibility. You're also assuming that when that future circumstance occurs, other factors in your life will have remained stable, which is rarely true. Making excuses can become a habit, a way of life. Some folks have honed it to an art form. Instead of planning and taking action, they make an excuse. We make excuses to protect ourselves from feelings of failure and fear. They help us to avoid unpleasant situations and mask our perceived shortcomings. The bottom line is that excuses keep us from succeeding, both in sports and in life. When Reese's fans make excuses for her, they're not actually helping her. They're preventing her from confronting the areas where she needs to improve, ultimately stunning her growth as a player. The fear behind excuses typically falls into familiar categories. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of not being good enough, fear of being made responsible, fear of the unknown, fear of making mistakes, and fear of change. In Reese's case, her supporters might fear that admitting her shortcomings means admitting Clark is better, or that acknowledging her struggles means diminishing her accomplishments. But true growth only happens when we confront reality, not when we hide from it behind a wall of excuses. So, where does Angel Reese go from here? How does she escape the cycle of excuses and blame to actually fulfill her potential? The first step is simple but difficult: accountability. Until Reese herself steps up and acknowledges where she needs to improve, both in her game and in her mental approach to crunch time, nothing will change. The good news is that she's shown flashes of this ability before. Following a flagrant foul incident with Caitlin Clark earlier in the season, both players downplayed the incident as just a basketball play. That mature approach needs to extend to her own performance criticisms as well. The second step involves tuning out the noise, including the excuse makers in our own fan base. When supporters are more interested in protecting your image than supporting your growth, their help actually becomes a hindrance. Reese needs to recognize that real support sometimes involves constructive criticism, not endless justification. The athletes who last in this league aren't the ones with the most protective fans. They're the ones who can look honestly at their flaws and work to address them. The Chicago Sky organization also bears responsibility here. The constant celebration of empty calorie statistics like double-doubles in losing efforts creates a culture that prioritizes individual accomplishments over team success. When the organization itself participates in this misleading narrative, they do Reese a disservice. Instead of highlighting how many rebounds she grabbed in a loss, perhaps they should focus on how she can improve her decision-making in crucial moments. That would actually help her development rather than just her brand. For Reese's fans, the path forward involves embracing reality rather than rejecting it. True fandom means supporting a player through their struggles, not pretending those struggles don't exist. It means celebrating genuine progress, not inventing alternative accomplishments. And most importantly, it means understanding that being a very good player doesn't require being the best player. Reese can have an outstanding career without ever reaching Clark's level of impact, and that's perfectly fine. Not every great player needs to be revolutionary. The Angel Reese meltdown and subsequent excuse festival reveals more about modern sports culture than it does about any individual player. We've entered an era where narrative often outweighs reality, where branding frequently trumps performance, and where fans would rather defend their tribe than acknowledge obvious truths. The uncomfortable reality is this. Angel Reese is a talented player who had a terrible moment under pressure. Caitlin Clark is a transformational talent who is changing the landscape of her sport. Both things can be true simultaneously without diminishing either player. The blame game, the fake statistics, the conspiracy theories, none of it changes what happened on the court. The ball left Reese's hands, and it didn't go in. The game was lost. The moment was missed. No amount of coaching criticism, teammate blame, or referee conspiracy theories can change that simple reality. The great athletes, the ones who become legends, don't surround themselves with excuse makers. They confront their failures, analyze their mistakes, and come back better. That's the path available to Reese if she chooses to take it. As for the fans, maybe it's time to put away the calculators with creative math and instead just watch the games. Maybe it's time to appreciate Clark's incredible impact without feeling threatened by it. Maybe it's time to support Reese's development rather than inventing alternative realities where she's already perfect. Basketball is a beautiful game, but the constant noise of excuses, blame, and fake numbers is drowning out that beauty. The scoreboard doesn't lie. The stats don't lie. The highlights don't lie. And no amount of social media spin can change what everyone saw with their own eyes. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is performance. And until Angel Reese shows she can rise in the moments that count, she's going to keep being defined not by her game, but by the excuses that follow it. The ball is in her court, literally and figuratively. The question is, what will she do with it next? If you found this breakdown of the Angel Reese drama insightful, hit that like button and let us know in the comments which WNBA rivalry you want us to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the biggest sports controversies. Remember, accountability beats excuses every time.